Thank you for staying with us. Rivers State Governor Wike-Fubara has urged his supporters to embrace the recent peace agreement with former Governor Nyesom Wike. During a meeting in Port Harcourt, Fubara explained that he accepted the terms of the agreement due to the immense value of peace. He acknowledged that the conditions may be challenging, but he emphasized their necessity for maintaining stability in the state. Fubara insisted that this effort is not solely about him. Rather, it is fundamentally about the development and progress of Rivers State. He lamented the number of abandoned projects in the region amid ongoing crisis. Well, joining us in the studio to discuss this development is Raqak Olokoba, political analyst and convener, Campaign for Dignity in Governance. Good morning.
Thank
It's
you.
good to have you join us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You recall in 2013 that the president, when this matter was begun, the president stepped in to resolve the matter. But it seemed like it did not hold water at the time, and so the crisis continued until there was a declaration of a state of emergency, and then we began to hear that there were talks going on behind the scene, and then finally we saw it come out formally. The president again still, stepping in to resolve the matter. Do you think that the declaration of a state of emergency seemed to have pushed this conversation to where it is now, where we are seeing some semblance of peace being resolved for the state? And was it in the interest of the people? Because there are those who are saying that this thing that Fubara did is a betrayal.
When you are acquiring office, either political or elective, there are things you must acquire along, which is wisdom. There are a lot of wisdom missing in what is happening in Rivers State. Sorry to say that, both from the people of the Rivers and political office holders. Because outsiders knew that it's going to come to this. And it's not going to be in the interest of the people of Rivers State. We know that extreme solution will be taken. And when that is taken, Rivers will be taken away from the people of Rivers. I'm not saying that administration that is there now is not doing things in consonance with the Constitution, but it has a mandate to keep peace. And that is going to be concentration of his governance to make sure that there's peace in the state. Any other thing outside that is just an addendum. And that's bad for the people of Rivers State. I totally agree with your intro that that extreme solution is what brings everybody back to his senses. Because lawmakers are back at home, either reading newspaper, are watching how their own colleagues in the national parliament are playing their role. Governor Fubara had a 6-month temporary retirement. Whether it's coming back within that 6 months, we don't know. But with development of things, he may likely come back after 6 months. So, even Wike, that seems to be the beneficiary with what has happened. It seems to be the beneficiary of the
Disagreement.
the declaration.
Okay. Of the state of emergency?
Yes, because you will say that this is my state. While other states are discussing about fundamental issues, let's pick up the possibility of generating electricity, security issues, environmental development, is stagnated. So all of them will be very, very unhappy with the state of emergency. So what's the way forward now? I hope and I think, because this is always the body language of Fubara, each time he has a sober reflection like this, he will seem committed to the process. Then suddenly he will come back and do something else again. And I think by now, all the people who will be saying that, let's go, we are always with you, he has looked back, I didn't find them again. And that should guide him in any decision he wants to take now, that is on his own. You are going to be accounting for 4 years of your governance, regardless of whether you were there within those 6 months or not. You are going to account for it. You have people to satisfy. You have a mandate of 4 years. Within 4 years, there's a number of roads you can build. You can't go beyond that. I'm into construction. There are a number of houses you can construct. There's no matter how you try to do it. So if you waste time talking about how to decimate Wike, how you are not going to be in control of anybody, how my godfather will not be my godfather again, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
So he has learned his lesson, and I think it is time for him to now come back as the governor of Rivers State and be able to cover up for all those missing links. If you go to Rivers, before the military, during the military era, I've been to Rivers State several times to take part in Asek Adakaburu rally. I know the state of Rivers State when Odili was there. I know when Peter Amechi got there, Amechi did well. Wike did well. So Rivers is gradually progressing. If you look at the picture of those two eras 20 years ago to now, you will see fundamental development. So only for you to come and complement what is going on there. There are states in this country that have their own airline. And I think Rivers will need to look in that direction as well. That's Olokoba. Telecoms is coming. Agro-allied is on board. So you just put up something and everything is suspended. I mean, so that's not too good for the people of Rivers State.
Anybody that knows Rivers State and is thinking of how Rivers can grow its economy, you would just advise Rivers, look, focus on transport.
Yes.
You know, focus on transport. You have the waterways, and you can also go into the airlines. But that's not what we're discussing today. What we're discussing today is the peace deal between Fubara and Nyesom Wike. And Fubara said that he was ordered to accept a peace deal with Wike Hizoga by Mr. President. For him to say that, how does it come through to you? You know, is it that I am forced to agree, or this is the right thing to do, so please follow me? Do you think that is the case?
Let's look at it in two ways. It might be true. But in my own opinion, I don't think so. But he must take something back home to his people. Who will say that you got us to this point only for us to say that we are not fighting again. Where do we go from here? So you hold on to something, my people. I'm not a coward. I was coward. But Mr. President will just look at it and laugh. I have a liberty to lie to say anything about my president. Even if I cannot do anything at home, I say it is Tinubu. That's our attitude in this country. So he has just displayed the Nigeria in him, that our president is available for us to hang all the blame on. But better as it may, it's good that he's taking the path of freedom. You see, when we want to acquire, like I always say, INEC has a role to play in all of this. That the moment you want to become the governor or the president, there's a political education that is required. You must be willing to take some insult. You must be willing to take some sacrifice. Ego doesn't take you anywhere as a governor. Ego doesn't take you anywhere as a president. Look at the speech of the president. He said, even if I do anything right, they will say it is not right. That's to tell you that I am ready to take any insult from you, but I am focused. This path that I'm towing, I know where it's going to take us. And for us, look around, the turnaround, the positive turnaround, regardless of the blackmail, the undue critique that all of us are seeing. There's a focus. So it needs to be focused. If he wants to play politics with the people of the Rivers, call them and say that governance is not my focus. It is politics I want to play. But if it is governance, see, everywhere in the world, somebody must tutor you. That language coming from the young to the elders, we must not accept it. The settings are changing. What is changing? Sun is rising and setting here. Rain is falling. So they are to say that you should not listen to someone who has passed through that terrain before is the greatest disservice we have done to ourselves in this country. There must be mentorship, which is called political father. Very, very derogatory language. There must be someone who's going to guide you.
But you also have your own liberty to choose a mentor.
You say what?
You should have a liberty to choose.
It's an idea that binds you together. It's not your personal view. It's an idea that brings you together. It is a program that brings you together. So it's your mentor that will tell you that this idea we all have, if it is free education, if it is service to the people, the welfare program, whatever, it's your mentor that will guide you. And that is why the non-state actor in the South must also be blamed. There's a regional mechanism all over Nigeria. Something is happening in Southwest, Afenifere, ARG, the determination group. We'll quickly call a meeting and say, this is our position. This is how we do our things in Yoruba land. And if you deviate for you to, we will mobilize ourselves against you. So the person will simmer. I can give several examples.
All right. Well,
I am one of the creation of Amateku. We said, no, we have to do something about our security. The government have to admit it at a point. The same thing, but Pandef should see things more clearly. issues of Fubara and Wike is not an issue that you take side because you know the danger.
That's right.
It is not likely that Wike is going to admit that he's wrong. It's not likely that Fubara is going to admit. What you do is to play a mediation role and tell them the implication. Not for only Rivers State, but the region. Why is it that successive governments always fight the previous one? It has become a pattern in Rivers State. Right. So the elders like Pandey should have done something about it that you can't be mismanaging your state in this manner. It's not acceptable.
All right, moving forward, you know, considering Wike's entrenched political, you know, strength in Rivers State, people have argued that Fubara's relinquishing of his own, whatever it is that, you know, he had to this peace agreement shows that he's weak, according to some people, and that he wants to stay politically relevant, especially with some of the concessions, which some said that included Wike being the one to allowing Wike to select who will represent them in the 23 local governments of Rivers State, and also that you know, and some other concession, and not seeking re-election in 2027. I'm not sure whether you have a peek into some of the details of this, you know, agreement that he signed.
I just hope that Fubara will not allow himself to be misadvised again. Weakness is not when you respect things you had agreement when you came into. It's not weakness. In fact, it's a strength. To say that you should justify, I know what Wike did when Fubara wanted to come in. In fact, I didn't even know that it was that same person that Wike was defending with everything before he became the governor. I didn't know it was that same person. And if it is the same person, I think it was wrong for Fubara to be towing this line. See, what makes you strong is performance. It's not how you were able to disagree with someone who brought you, who assisted or who collaborated with you, or who had an agreement with, like Wike and other stakeholders. That's not strength too. Nobody will respect you anywhere you go. People don't respect agreement. No matter that kind of, once you enter into it, agreements are so. For you, because before you enter into that agreement, you must factor the people in. If you had an agreement that you didn't factor the people in, that means there's a problem with you at the beginning. Now, why will you factor a political agreement where your people are not involved, where development and progress of your state is not involved? It is now you're now seeing it. So I don't think there's that agreement that will say that Wike will say that don't factor the people in. It's always small little things. So local government chairman, second term, is dependent on the way the courage he puts in place the next 2 years. If he did very well and remain focused on government, Nigerians will call for him. There are incidents like that all over the country that people will rise in your favor. So if you want people to rise in your favor, it's not to go and keep demolishing another institution of government. You did it for the parliament. You go and do it for the judiciary to prove that the point that you are strong. Don't do that again. Focus on governance. And already there are inkling of performance in what you are doing already. You have to, and that is not a replacement for not respecting political agreement. That's not a replacement. Everything must go simultaneously. It has its own leg in the party. It has its own performance, has its own leg. And that's what the party is standing on. What you do for party people has its own strength. What you do for the people has its own leg. If one is dislocated, the process is in trouble. So you have to do everything simultaneously. So for Wike, anybody that is advising him not to, it's either the person is not clear about what his political issues are, or is his enemy. Because the point you have gotten to now, I show clearly that there's no strength in where you are relying on. There's no strength there. And your strength remains for you to keep performing. Be closer to the people, perform. Any proposal that is Wike is bringing that is anti-people, let him see wisdom in the proposal that no, this is not, this is against the people. And I know Wike, for someone who has done that much in Rivers State, I wonder what could be the agreement you have with you that you say you don't want to agree. I wonder what kind of agreement they will have.
Fubara said that it will cost them a lot. That's part of his statement, that it will cost them a lot. The agreement that they have reached will cost
if you classify agreement that is going to declassify it, let the people have an inkling of such an agreement. Let us have an inkling of such an agreement. Is it that you want to change the name of Rivers State? Or Port Harcourt is no longer the capital? Is that the cause that you are talking about?
These are the things that could cause
so there's no demand that is too Akulian that it becomes scary for all of us.
So
it shows clearly that he has something off his sleeve.
Who is that?
Fubara. What is it going to cost you in the political process that we all know everything about?
If you are thinking he has something up his sleeve, are you saying that this agreement might just break down anytime soon?
Anytime. From his body language, from what he's saying, maybe just want to come back and maybe. And I like what the president has done. The president has tried to be as neutral as it is. See, you knew what you did before you got to this point. I am not going to say that because you are the governor, that you should not respect it. It's not about Wike ago. Tinubu is not talking only about Wike. That there are processes that got you to this point. Go back to that process. Re-examine the process. Let the people among you see the process that got you to that point. River is not only about Wike, it's also about other people too. So discuss and sit down with them. Let Wike say the reason. If he has something that is dangerous for the state, let other people see the reason. But to keep harping on the fact that it's only about my view. Yeah. It's only about bombing the pipeline. It's only about bombing the parliament. It's only that by any means necessary I must have my view. Governance is not like that. There are so many stakeholders in government. So it can't only be about you. Even the opposition is also a stakeholder. You must also think about the opposition. And I like giving the example of Lagos State. That's why Lagos have political tendency. All this while, all through it's been one political tendency. The theory, the formula for getting it done is here in Lagos. There's no state that is having one political party all this while up to today. It's not coincidental. There are things that people are doing that keeps it going. Errors are made, they quickly correct it. So the Lagos model, you have to emulate it. And you go to your town, some other people come, and the Lagos dream is going. We have 3 railway line now, as you and I talk. Fashola did his own, Tinubu did his own. Somebody is doing his own, another governor is coming with do his own. And that's why the people of River State, the stakeholders, the leaders of River State must try to understand the implication of this.
But some of them are feeling betrayed.
By what we get, not some, it's just some of them. And the interest of some of them is not as bigger than that of the 7 million people of River State, which should be the concern of everybody. The school children, the project, the road, the health care, the security of that state. Well, so in the interest of these things you mentioned, people are saying is a reason for the rift in the first place. What Fubara is saying is that allow me take care of health, do everything you mentioned so far. And the agreement you are harping on is going to slow down or is going to limit my ability to look at things like that. What do you think, even though all of us here have not seen the details of this particular agreement, but for Fubara to say that he was coerced into taking this agreement and that the people of River State might not really enjoy the outcome of it, what do you think would be those little details of this new agreement that Fubara is not very comfortable with? I don't think so. If you look at, it's just an inheritance of crisis from Odili to Amechi, from Amechi to Wike, from Wike to Fubara. And that's what I think Wike is trying to stop. But we can't continue like this. And if you look at...
No, sir, but what I mean is this.
I'm saying that agreement is just an excuse. It's a launch pad. That's saying it's just a launch pad. What could it be? You should not pay salary or what? You should not allow the parliament to sit.
So you're saying whatever the agreement will not affect the
I don't think so. I don't think so. It's just an inheritance of when I get there, the predecessor should not have anything to say about my administration. It's just that. And he's using that as a launch. But he knows that you study what Nigerians don't want to listen to.
Let's look at the backdrop of...
is this just question of...
sorry, sir. Let's look at the backdrop. Let's look at the backdrop of your predecessor, you know, being in charge of all the appointments in your administration.
But was that part of the agreement he signed before taking office?
No. Yeah, I'm reacting to what he said.
Yeah.
You know, your predecessor doing this, and it's not just from what we have seen or from what people are throwing around in the streets. Is this? Look, listen. Fubara is saying that this man is too involved, you know, in my administration. And that's why we have the problem.
If you have a complicated state,
Yes.
you have to be technical about it. Once you are the governor, there are things you must let go. There are technical issues that is involved in governance that you must allow experts to take charge of it. This is not a moral issue. It's not a question of sentiment and all. You are the governor. You need tools to perform.
And he wouldn't know those people who can
You can't know everything. You can't know everything. You can't know everybody. Let's not be sentimental about it. Emotion. No,
it's not sentiment. It's just a question.
So that's the question. Yeah.
And Lagos is a good example. We had that when Fashola was there, he only gave Ashwaji only gave him opportunity to appoint chief of staff. Did he not perform? He performed very well. And first, he became one of the reference points in Nigeria today. Fashola's administration. The same thing in Sanwo-Olu. Is Sanwo-Olu not performing? Will you say that in the last 6 years, is Sanwo-Olu's government performance ascribed to 20 years of some other state achievement? IDR is growing. Security is.
So if you are looking at that,
so it's a large part by Fubara that someone that was a governor for 8 years. You think you will not have an idea about what is coming?
So if you're looking at that,
so you should say that you should set him aside. You don't run government like that.
Mr. Olokoba, if you're saying that, some people are already.
Why do you think Trump is having challenge today in America? Because it's only about Trump. And aside Trump, and Trump will go and do the mistake and will come back and go say, okay, let's go this direction again. You need guidance.
But if you're
his foreign policy is in shambles.
Sorry, because of our time, if you bring in that example, some are already alleging soft coup, where they said that yes, we have a governor, and the governor is there, is sitting at the apogee of the state, but the power lies somewhere else. The decision makers lie, they stay right behind the shadows. So isn't that what they characterize as
the tools to work? It's not a decision.
So it's not a soft coup.
It's not a decision on how to run government. It's not a decision on how to run policy. It's not the tools you need to work. Who are the likely to work with you? That's what we are saying. These are the people we are talking about. And it's a party. The party understands the credential of everybody. That these are the kind of people that can move Rivers State forward alongside you. Okay, look at other states that I was always about. When the governor gets there, it takes decision for 4 years. I can begin to give numerous examples. Then compare it to state where you have DAC, Governors Council like Lagos, like the picture we have in Rivers now. Give us an example of that. I give an example of state that's only about 4.
But my question is this: if he was aware that this is how it was going to be before coming into power, should that be a problem now?
That's why I say that there are positions that must come with some wisdom.
Wisdom, yeah.
You think you are going to be the governor, and you are going to run it as if you are running your MTN kiosk.
He must have been aware that this is how it was going to run, and he agreed to it.
Yes.
So that is why Wike is saying agreement is agreement.
So whether you're using that as a law, I don't know, Wike, I don't know. I'm just a political scientist. I'm just offering my academic and expert view on this matter. There are things, before we came over, I'm talking something about security report. This is not a sentimental thing. Governor's security is governor's security vote. If you want to change that, let's go to the constitution. Absence of guns and bullets is not a problem in this country. It is required legislation that will allow state to secure that. So that's the missing link. Enough to governance secure. And we should not be misleading ourselves as sentimental. Once we mention any public, we go for them. Fubara is aware of this. It's just an addiction by every governor of Rivers State that once I get there, I must cut off the previous. Yes, that's just it. Because this agreement, the content, it looks as if it's an agreement where you say that the people of Rivers State should go and live in Taraba State. It makes, that's the picture he's painting. So, in my advice to him, he has 2 years to go to redeem his image. Maybe he's aware, maybe he's not aware. He's not seen as a Democrat. After he's no longer in office, he will not understand the gravity of what he has done.
Do you not feel as
for pulling down the parliament? Either you want to innovate in the name of anything. People knew you why you did that. You didn't know gravity. It's still grabbing for coming back and looking at the agreement. That error, that aberration is there. And it's going to be a stigma like June 12th on Babangida for Fubara. But that 2 years, redeem your image. Forget all these things that you are talking about, this shifting blackmail you are talking about. Focus on government. The people of the State should be our concern. And should be his own concern too.
We believe that he has learned his lessons with the statements he's been making, and that he would focus and redeem his image.
I just hope so.
Raqak Olokoba, political analyst, convener, Campaign for Dignity in Governance. Thank you for your time on the program.
It's a pleasure being with you.
All right. Now, after the break, we will continue the conversation on Fubara and Wike's peace deal. Stay with us.